Are you comfortable speaking in front of a group but feel that something's missing from your presentations? Hi, this is Ken Okel. In public speaking for executives, I'm going to help you take your speaking to the next level. Very often, when you're on your home turf, you feel very comfortable, the ideas just flow from you, and it seems like people are understanding what you're talking about. But when you have to talk to a different part of your organization or to another company, or maybe you're the guest speaker at a convention or a chamber event, you just have a hard time organizing your thoughts, pulling the words together, and delivering a memorable message. These are the moments that can hurt or stall an otherwise successful career. In this presentation, you're going to learn a system that you can use again and again that will make you a much more powerful presenter. The first thing I want you to think about is making sure that you build your presentation with a strong foundation. I want you to forget about those days where you wing it. You can't just make it up on the spot anymore. You really have to plan what you're going to say, much as someone would plan the structure of a building. What is the point of your presentation? Why are you speaking to this group? Are you there to inform? Are you there to inspire people? Are you there to deliver a call to action to the audience? Really narrow down what is the main theme. Couple quick tips about your main point. State it very early in your presentation. Repeat it several times. We'll have more on that in a little bit. Something else for you to consider. Is your theme memorable, and can it be easily repeated by someone? The idea being, after the presentation, someone may be asked, "Hey, what did that person talk about?" You want them to be able to easily remember what you talked about and articulate it to others. Let's say you're talking to a group of employees about the quality of your customer service. You might have the main point or focus of the presentation be something very simple, like one person can make a big difference for this organization. It's a simple theme that is memorable and can be repeated. It is the umbrella statement under which the rest of your presentation falls. A good structure will hold your presentation together. It will be easier for people to follow, and most importantly, it will make it easier for them to act upon your words. Again, you don't just make stuff up and shoot from the hip. Long term, that never works. Some speakers fall into the trap of throwing everything they know at an audience. That's a great way to have them tune out and be overwhelmed. I want you to make sure that anything you're introducing into your presentation fits under your main point, your theme. If it doesn't, leave it out, use it in another presentation. Here's an example of a structure of a presentation that you can use again and again. You have your introduction. You introduce your key point. You explain why it's important. You give your first point or reason. Second, third follows. All along those lines, you are reiterating the main theme and how the point links into it. Finally, you have your conclusion where you pull it all together. You're not going off on tangents. You're staying very disciplined in how you present information to your audience. You may want to introduce some stories into your presentation as supports for your three main points. Now, why use stories? Very simple. Stories are memorable and they're real. People connect with them well. You can use your own stories from your own life, or you can take some from the headlines. One thing to keep in mind is to make sure that the story does support your theme. There is a reason why you're telling it. Early on in my professional speaking career, I noticed that when I was talking to a group about an experience that I had, my delivery became much more comfortable and much more real. So I want you to keep that in mind and don't be afraid to introduce some stories. It will make you seem more real. Here's an example. Have you ever found that looks can be deceiving? Years ago, my mother and her grandmother were watching TV together. On TV was a program, maybe you've heard of it before, called Mr. Ed. It was a sitcom about a talking horse. Nowadays, when I look at that sitcom, I can tell that the horse really isn't talking. The lips are moving. But it's because peanut butter or something else like that was put on the horse's lips. But it was a totally different experience for my great-grandmother. She had been born in Russia at the end of the 19th century. She had come to America when she was 13 years old. She had seen unbelievable change. So for her, seeing a horse who could talk was just the latest thing. Looks can be deceiving. And as we look at the latest results for our organization, we may be quick to make a judgment, but we need to step back and carefully analyze the situation, because I think there's a lot of success brewing. Another tool you may want to use are questions. I'm not talking about questions where you're actually looking for an answer, but a rhetorical question where you pause for a moment and give the audience a chance to think about it, and then you provide the answer. I want to remind you that the question or the story still needs to tie into the theme. It is a supporting part of the structure. Here's an example of a question tying into a theme. So who takes the lead in customer service? Is it the person at the top of the organization or the person who the customer comes in contact with every day? One person can make a difference. Before you talk to an organization or a group that you don't know much about, do a little research. Go online. Find out about the organization. Does it have a slogan? What are employees called? What might be some of the challenges that the organization is facing or some recent successes? Can you incorporate any of these into your presentation? This is a great technique for building a connection between you and the audience. They will look at you and say, "He gets us," and that'll make them listen that much more. I think everyone agrees that nowadays we all have short attention spans, and that's why it's so important to get off to a good start in your presentation. Think of someone who's flipping through the channels. If they don't like what they see, they're going to tune you out really fast. Make sure not much time goes by before you state the point or the theme of your presentation, and you need to make sure too that you relate it to the audience. Why should they care about it? In your preparations, I want you to spend a lot of time on the first and the last 30 seconds of your talk. I want you, when you get on stage, to feel like a rock star ready to perform when you start talking. Then when you get to the end of the talk, I want you to know in the back of your mind that you can finish strong. Here's an example. Remember when you were a kid and you and your friends would play that game Twister? And everyone would find themselves contorting their bodies to try to play the game and stay in the game. Sometimes you'd find that you could stretch in ways that you didn't think were possible. Well, in today's economy, companies are having to stretch in ways they never felt possible. But like a game, it's possible to win. Let's talk about a bad speaker habit that's a bit of a trap and a great way to make your audience tune you out. You get up to the podium and you start off by thanking everybody. It's like you're at the Oscars or the Emmys. You don't have to thank the people for having you there. They brought you there to talk, so start talking. Start your presentation. Start enriching their lives. Later on, you can always give your appreciation for being there, but don't start it off that way. It is a cliche. During your talk, several times, you will want to restate that key point. Why would you do this? Well, for a few reasons. One, people get distracted. There might be a noise in the room just as you're stating that key theme. You don't want them to miss it. Someone's BlackBerry might be going off, or another mobile device might be competing for your attention. Make sure that it's easy for people to walk away knowing what your talk was about. Now, you don't have to restate it verbatim. You can rephrase it a little bit, but make sure people know it. A memorable presentation isn't linear. It goes forward, but it also circles back to key themes and key ideas and ties it all together. Always remember that your presentation is about your audience, and you need to make sure the information is easy for them to consume. Staying with that concept, you want to make sure that you're not complicating your presentation with words that people don't know, acronyms that are a bit of a mystery. These things will isolate you from your audience. If they can't understand what you're saying, how are they going to act on your words? If your presentation includes a lot of numbers or statistics, try to make them real for the audience. For instance, if you're talking about a large group of people, Is it a group of people that you can compare to the amount of people who can sit in a football stadium? For the close of your presentation, you will once again want to restate that key point of your presentation. You also want to think about, is there an action that you want your audience to take? Make sure you've mentioned it. Also, maybe you just want people to think differently. Don't let them leave the presentation not knowing what you want from them. Good presentations have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Make sure your end is strong. You want your audience to feel like they've gotten something out of spending the time to concentrate on your remarks. You may even want them to feel a little hungry. You didn't throw the kitchen sink at them, so they may think, hey, this person has great things to say. I can't wait till the next time they deliver a presentation. Thanks so much for watching this presentation. To find out more about me, go to my website, kenokel.com. You can email me at tvguy@kenokel.com. I do a little contest. Do you know where I'm standing? It's a very specific place in the world. If you guess correctly, I'll send you a special bonus gift. It's been great spending some time with you.